Hello, this is Debbie. I'm here at German Club Edelweiss in Inglewood, and today we're going to speak a little bit with one of the members here at Edelweiss. So in just a second, I'll bring him up here on the camera. Okay, we are here at Edelweiss with Tom. Tom, would you go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hi, my name's Tom Kondis.
And Tom, how do you volunteer with Edelweiss?
Well, actually, I volunteered with Edelweiss back in 1962, I believe it was, when I became part of the soccer team and part of the club here. And so ever since that time, and during that period of time, from then until now, I've held several positions within the club. Presently, I'm the president of the club.
When was Edelweiss formed? When was this organization formed?
Well, that's a little strange. Actually, this came about in, the grounds were acquired in 1932, but prior to that, there were several people who had come over here from Germany and became members of the club, or became members of a soccer team. And they were playing different ethnic groups here and there, wherever they could find a playing field to play on. And they formed a team in about 1924, and they called themselves the Edelweiss team. And after several years, in 1932, they acquired the grounds that we're on now. And at that time, the social club and the soccer team came together and formed a sports club. And this started out as a sports club. We had track and field events as well as soccer out here, particularly for the German community. And as time went on, we got rid of the track, but the remnants of the track are still out there and can be seen. And it became primarily a soccer club and a social club. And that's where we're at right now. In 1970, or prior to the 1974, we had an old frame building back here, which was about 100 foot long and 40 foot wide, and that was our social club. And we had a great deal of fun there. During that period of time, we had company we invited here from Germany. We held banquets for people here in Germany, and we just had a ton of fun in that old building. But then in 1974, our dear old Helmut Kistler, who was the president, insisted that we could build a new clubhouse, even though we kind of resisted him for a while, but he finally talked us into it. And the members came together, and the members built this club entirely by themselves. And that started in the end of 1973, and we ended up completing it in 1974.
Now, a little while ago, while we were seated talking, you were telling me about how the soccer organization got started and how different people from around the city came out here to Edelweiss to start playing soccer. Would you tell me about that again?
Well, yeah. You know, excuse me, we are known as the home of Dayton soccer. And how that came about, when we were playing back prior to the 60s, hardly anybody in the community, in the surrounding American community, knew anything about soccer. All they knew is there was a bunch of men running around in shorts on Sunday. And after a while, we became affiliated. A member by the name of, I can't think of his name at the minute. He formed at a league, which was come to be known as the Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky League. And what that was a Sunday game where we would play home and away with different teams from Indiana or Kentucky. And he affiliated that with the United States Soccer Federation in 1976, and they set the boundaries for us, separating North Ohio from Southern Ohio. We became Southern Ohio, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky League. And after playing for so many years here, Pele joined the the North American Soccer League. And when he came here to this country, it became popular all of a sudden because Pele was playing. And so a lot of our youth who had been playing in Catholic Youth Organization started playing soccer again. And so a fellow from Centerville by the name of Paul Healy and myself, on Saturdays we would gather up kids of high school age and bring them out here to the club to meet, and we were teaching them soccer and having them play soccer out here together. And this started out on one Sunday, on 2 or 3 Saturdays, and it started to catch on like wildfire. Pretty soon, kids from all different school districts were coming down here to play on Saturdays. And so we had coaches out here to teach them, we had officials out here to teach them, and it kept on. And although the high schools did not want to have varsity soccer, and they fought us all the way. But eventually, the kids got so enthused about it, and they spent so much time down here, that the schools gave in and said that they could have or form club teams if they wanted to. So they formed club teams, and the kids would come down here and in their uniforms, which the schools had handed out to them, which happened to be old high school jerseys. They wouldn't give them soccer uniforms, so they gave them old high school jerseys. And these boys would come down here in their little high school jerseys every Saturday, and we would have games with all the very different schools. I can remember they sent coaches down here with these kids, but at that time, and I imagine it's still in effect, in order to be a coach, you had to be a staff member of that particular school. And so what they did is they appointed coaches from their staff. And for example, at one time, the Huber Heights coach was down here. Mr. Ritchie was down here with his team, and I asked him if he'd played soccer before, and he said no. And I said, well, how did you happen to become the coach? And he said, well, I teach the Spanish class. So I guess the schools equated a foreign game with a foreign language. But eventually, most of the coaches that started with a high school knew nothing about the game. And so we educated them here down here. And eventually, after a lot of discussion with the Ohio High School Athletic Association, they let them become varsity. And so now that's how the high school soccer program started here in Ohio. And it started right here in Edelweiss.
That is nice. That's, as I was reading up about the different history of all 3 of the German clubs here in the Dayton area, that's one of the things I learned. I knew that that Edelweiss was the home for soccer. I didn't realize that that's where the soccer originated. So reading up about all the history and hearing your story about that, and how, reading about it is one thing, but talking to somebody about it and finding out more about how it actually came to light rather than what's condensed in just a small paragraph is really nice. Also, when we were talking a little bit ago, and you're saying that this whole building was built by members of Edelweiss, you also said that the bar, which is behind you in the picture, was built by members of Edelweiss. That is some very impressive woodwork.
That bar there was done by, if you'd ever been to the World of Fair in years past and saw that fellow sitting there doing the woodworking and the hand carving woodworking, he's the same guy that built that bar right there. And all of the murals above it were painted by Mr. Paul Shorman, who was also a member. And the chimney over there, all that stonework was done by a member who was a mason. So what it was is we had a whole club full of people with skilled trades, and so we built a club. Now, when it was first proposed by Helmut Kister, we didn't want to do it. We didn't think we could do it, but he insisted we could, and so we did. We finally gave in and built this place by ourselves. And so, all thanks goes back to Helmut.
Mentioning Helmut again, that brings me into another question, and something that I learned by reading some information you gave me about the Deutschland. And Helmut Kister was the first president of Deutschland. And if you would tell me again about how Deutschland came about and how you were approached to represent Germany at the Dayton International Festival.
Yes, well, we got an inquiry from the city of Dayton advising that they were putting this together, and they asked us here at Edelweiss if we would represent the German community in this Dayton International Festival, which is now known as the World Fair. And so we did, and what it was, we gathered together representatives from the different ethnic groups in the Dayton and surrounding area, and we met at the basement of the Polish Catholic Church on Valley Street. For several months they were putting it together. And we finally, on opening day, we had a parade in downtown Dayton in which each country formed a group, and we marched down in the streets of downtown Dayton with each group having a flag bearer in front of them, a flag from their own country. And the German Club Edelweiss and the Germans that were in that parade were in the forefront. We were in the front, and I was carrying that flag there on that opening day. And after that, we did get a letter of commendation from James H. McGee, who was the mayor at that time, thanking us all for the contribution.
That's nice, because I know as of now there are over 30 different organizations representing around 30 different countries that actually participate in the Dayton International Festival, the World Affair. Unfortunately, we didn't have one this year, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we're able to do the World Affair in 2021. I believe we've already got a date from the Dayton Convention Center. What I also didn't realize until you just said that when you were talking about the parade, I didn't realize that the parade was outdoors in the beginning. Since I've been involved with the World Affair, we've always done the opening ceremony parade each day, and it's just been inside in the convention center. We walk through the whole area and past as many of the different countries as we can and their booths. I had no idea that the parade used to be outdoors.
Oh, we paraded down the streets of Dayton. We went down Main Street and up Jefferson Street, I think it was, whichever that was, and it was quite a parade. It was very, very well accepted, you know, and we had a good crowd there too.
That's nice to know, because there are so many different ethnic groups in the Dayton area that do participate in the World Affair, and to know that back in the 1970s, is that when? That's, I think, yeah. Back in the 1970s, we all came together as an organization under Dayton International Festival and worked together to put on the Dayton International Festival, which is now, as you said, known as the World Affair. It's nice to know that we're able to work together even back in the 70s, and we're still able to work together now and put on a wonderful event.
Yes, I think so. And as far as the German clubs are concerned, all three clubs have really contributed to keeping alive the German heritage in the Dayton and the surrounding area. And there's not too much difference between any of the three of us. We're unique in the fact that we have a sports program, but other than that, we all work together under the caption of Deutschland.
Yes, we do. And I know without the help of people like Esther and others here at Edelweiss, Ann and Chuck and so many others that I see every year who help out so much with the Deutschland and the German booth, and also everybody at Eintracht and everybody at Liederkranz. It truly is, it is nice to see all three clubs working together in order to put on such a wonderful event and represent Germany at the World Affair. It's fun, and I hope if people are listening, when people are listening to this, if you haven't been to the World Affair, then you'll need to come out to that when we have it again in May.
And we will always give you the privilege of helping work out there too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would love more volunteers for all the events. I think that's one of the challenges I think all of the ethnic groups here in the town in the area have, whether it's one of the three German clubs or any of the other clubs, you know, Lebanese, Greek, Italian, who have all held festivals. Edelweiss had a dinner here the other night. We're all run by volunteers. We don't get paid to do this. We're doing this because we want to preserve and promote our heritage.
Yes, and I think each club is in the same situation where it's very hard to get volunteers. Nobody wants to do the work, and the ones that do a good job, but they really work hard at it, and they're the ones that are keeping it alive.
I know that volunteers here at Edelweiss, at Eintracht, at Liederkranz, we are definitely trying our best to keep our culture and clubs alive and relevant. Well, Tom, I want to say thank you very much for taking this time to come out here on a Sunday afternoon and talk to me here at Edelweiss and show me around the building. I was able to take lots of pictures. I'll be taking more pictures when we're done with the interview. And then when we get this posted out on social media and YouTube and such, I'll post all those pictures out there too. So thank you again. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to coming out to more events here at Edelweiss.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure, and I hope to see you out here.
I will be here.